You said something about independent and studio films. Um, do you think that a lot of studio films are limited as far as what they can do creatively? Because when you look at some of the new independent films and some of the studio films, you see a lot of rehash, a lot of same stuff happen, same style and same stories told over and over again in the studio side, where a lot of independent filmmakers try to think outside the box to get some of the different stories or unique stories out there.
Yeah.
Um, do you think, and you could say that like a lot of studio films are driven by money, driven by success financially, where a lot of independent filmmakers just want to get their arts out, they want to get their stories and their ideas out there for people to get, for them to get recognized. Do you think that hinders the creativity for studio films versus independent films?
It depends. I mean, Netflix has some great art, great films, and there are studios that they go into that. I think what ends up happening is some studios will look at older films and say, "Hey, look, this did really well back then. Maybe we can recast it, reshape it, and utilize that and do something, for today's people." Because, like I said earlier, there are filmmakers, and people have never seen some of these films that we talk about. You know, um, like The Third Man or Rear Window or films like that. Some people don't even know who Stanley Kubrick is. So, when they remake those, I don't think that they're just saying, "Come on, we can make money," and maybe there's some are that way, but I think what they're thinking is, you know, they had the success years ago for this. Why don't we try to see if we could, create something and update it in such a way? It's look at the Camaro. The Camaro was made in 1967, 68, and 69. That shape there. Then it went, to hell as far as I'm concerned. And then you didn't see it for a while, and all of a sudden when it came back, it was the same car as the look of the 1969, and everybody bought it. So if you take that concept, you may be rehashing something, and there are people that have seen those films and say, "Oh, geez, can't they be creative? Can't they do that?" But I think it's that concept of, I'm going to update it, with all the new bells and whistles. And there's a movie that I wanted to remake, and although I was upset, I was extremely happy to learn my hero years ago was Walter Hill, and I got to be on the set watching him work, staring at him. And there was a movie that I saw as a kid called Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Shame on you. So it's with Betty Davis and Joan Crawford. It's a thriller, and it's so good. And Betty Davis is so great in it. And I was saying, "Oh my God," it scared the hell out of me as a kid. So I thought, you know what? This was maybe 4 years ago, maybe or so. And I said, I'm going to start doing some research because I want to remake this movie. And Warner Brothers, I think, owned it. So I started doing the research, and I called a friend of mine. And he said, "Dude, stop where you are." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because Walter Hill and Ridley Scott are doing the remake."
Oh man.
So, which is fine because it's in some great hands.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean. That movie, you've never seen the movie, but if you see the new one coming out, so you'll say, "Oh shit! Wow, wow! This is great."
Some of them work. Some of the remakes work,
Yeah,
but um, uh, when you see it happening every year, a lot of people start to question like, is it? I mean, a lot of people are craving for new stories and new ideas and new creative work. When you rehash the same things over and over again, some stories I get it meant to be retold, especially if it was made 30, 40 years ago. Then with the new technology and how films look now, it's only fair to actually remake it and make it let other people see it in a different light.
yeah,
But like doing it too much, it just becomes little, it waters down everything. So like everything is being told over and over again. It seems like there's no more stories to be told, which is in fact not true, because if you look at a lot of independent films, there's a lot of creative people out there doing a lot of work. So that's why like it's just uh, surprises me that not many studios, big studios. I know that Netflix does a lot of independent stuff too, which is great. Like it gives a lot of opportunities to new filmmakers to do creative work. But like if you look at bigger ones like Disney or WB or all the big ones, they just seems like they're doing a lot of stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, look, there films that I would not remake, and I always said it shouldn't be remade, would be like Gone with the Wind, Butch Cassidy, The Sundance Kid, um, and I thought even The Wild Bunch. Have you ever seen The Wild Bunch?
Yeah, I've seen that.
yeah, a long time
So,
ago, yeah.
yeah, well, they're remaking that, and Mel Gibson is directing it.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Hmm.
you know, I think Jerry Bruckheimer is producing it because I know my buddy Tommy Harper, I think, was supposed to be on that. But you know, I think what's going to take is these new young filmmakers, or even filmmakers that they don't necessarily have to be young. They just have to think out of the box and create things and do things that are completely different. You can have a style that emulates another style, but you want to have your story told in such a way that you can do it. There are only 7 stories, as they say in Hollywood. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back. Boy meets dog, boy loses dog, boy gets dog back. So you have to come up with something that can still do that and change it in such a way, where you call it yours and then it's never been done. There are films that are like that. There are many films that are like that with up and coming filmmakers. So It Follows, great film. You saw that,
Yeah,
right?
yep, yeah.
I mean, there you go. I mean, there's being, and what he did was they utilized the look and the feel of Halloween and those films that were made in the 70s and gave it that feel with a whole new twist and a whole new story.
Was that an independent film or was that an actual studio film?
No, it was independent.
Right, right. So you see a lot of creative work in indie
Yeah,
films.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you can take what was done years ago
right.
and create something now, but you gotta get away from the stories that were made years ago.
Yeah, that's my thing, and I've seen it a lot with Disney too. Like they're just milking a lot of it at this point. Like if you see like the Aladdin movies or the Lion King, and are those already told in a beautiful way? Like the originals are still really good to today. Redoing them is just makes it look like you're just basically wanting that money in there.
You and I would say that. However,
Right.
the kids that are 3 or 4 years old that never saw the other one are now seeing something new, and the kids that saw the first one want to see something else.
You don't think
So that
you don't think people that are young like my son loves the Lion King and Aladdin. He's 8 years old. So and I think that relates to them more, right? Like the actual cartoons are something that all kids love. I don't know. It just feels like a lot of it is just a cash grab more than actual creative work, which I understand. Like what I mean, like if it's a business strategy, I get it. I hope that there's more to it than that.